Hi, my name is Brendan Harding, and just thought I'd say a few words about depression in adolescents. And I don't know if you've seen the video Young Symbols and Songs of the Soul, but in it I mention about the journey of life, if you like, from being completely unconscious when you're a baby to gradually becoming more conscious till in your early 20s you have maybe a reasonable ego, and then the journey of the second half of life of, to some extent, letting go of the ego and the journey to the self. And the journey to the self is it's a maturing journey, it's a spiritual journey, and everybody is on that journey whether you realize it or not. To arrive at the self is like to be enlightened, or to be awakened, or to individuate in Jungian terms. But it is a journey in consciousness. And I don't have much experience with adolescents, but I do meet them from time to time. And in every case, it's a question of they have reached an impasse, either with people in their surroundings or in their own way of thinking, or with their own emotions. They are really becoming conscious, and the environment isn't coping with that, if you like. It might be that there's a situation maybe at work or with their peers or with their parents that the experience is maybe not just, and they can't figure it out. And it might be that their own expectations of the situation is greater than the situation can accommodate. But I find it very rewarding to talk to them, and they sort themselves out very quickly. And the point I'm making is that they're becoming more conscious, and something in the environment isn't letting them become more conscious. And it might be some wound that they have themselves, which they're not able to talk about. And the other aspect of that I think is important is that when adolescents get depressed, and this is slightly different to what we're talking about already, because we're talking about people who are maybe having problems, in inverted commas, but the young people who get depressed have often got a very good reason for being sad. And it can be the loss of a relationship. That's a big one for someone between 17 and 23. At any stage it's a big deal. But especially in these years it can be extremely painful. Or their prospects for where they're going to be in the world suffer a significant blow, or some insight comes to them about their own situation in life, and they are deprived of possibilities of what they might have been. All of these things are really cause a lot of pain. And so these people are suffering. And so in one way, this time of suffering is an initiation, a powerful initiation into adulthood. And so many cultures throughout the world and throughout history have had rituals of sometimes painful rituals to symbolize the passing from childhood into adulthood. And you could get no more powerful ritual, if you like, or experience in order to pass from the child to the adult than the experience of suffering. So this time when young people are suffering, they're depressed, this is a sacred time really. And when they get through it, their appreciation of life will be much deeper. So it's a special time. And if people around them could acknowledge that, for instance, someone has a broken relationship, which for them is very painful, but people around are saying, oh, don't worry about it, you'll get over it, there's more fish in the sea, this kind of thing. That doesn't help. And I know that people around might not be able to understand exactly what's going on with the person, but if they could treat the situation with respect and acknowledge that the person is suffering, then I think it would be much easier for them to go through it, rather than to label them as having an illness. That time of depression is a time of suffering really, and a time of initiation into adulthood. And when they get through it, whether they have a therapist or not, whatever way they get through it, and they do, if it's dealt with, if the real problem is dealt with and acknowledged, they will have grown considerably and move into adulthood with a new delight. So I just wanted to mention that